Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we are looking at a copy of Scary Tales. This is Little Red versus Pinocchio. It's for 2 players, ages 13 and up. It's from PlayRoom. Takes about 20 minutes to play, according to the box. Probably slightly more, slightly less, depending on players. It is got a warning on it for small parts for choking hazard. It contains 55 cards. 2 dice. I'm sorry, no. Is it 7 dice? Yeah, 7 dice. And the instructions. So this is one of those alternate realities where everything's corrupt and blah blah blah, good guys are bad. So you're fighting over who gets to be in charge. It's a pretty stupid premise, but the game's supposed to be pretty fun. So let's open it up and take a look at what we got in here. There are 3 versions of the Scary Tales game, and they're supposed to be interchangeable. I can't verify that, but they're supposed to be interchangeable. So they've got this one, and then there's one with Snow White, and a third one that I forget. Alright, oh, that's actually a pretty decent quality box. It's got a nice, like, almost linen feel to it. Alright, there's our instructions. Here's our deck. And here's our dice. That's all there is in there. They probably could have put that in a smaller box. Nothing to hide underneath there either. Alright, so our instruction sheet is pretty short. At only 4 pages. So I've never played this game, so I can't tell you the mechanics of it. This is just to open it up, see what we got in here. But it's supposed to be pretty fun. Now it's got custom dice, so there's 7 dice total, 3 for each side and 1 other die. All right, so these are kind of cheap. The dice themselves are kind of standardized. Cheapo board game dice. Not great, not terrible. But the imaging on them is really weird feeling. It's, I don't think it's a sticker. No, I think it's like painted on, like airbrushed. So let's take a look at these and see what we got here. So, these all the same. Yeah, it looks like they're all the same. So, let me zoom the camera in and we'll get a better look at this. Alright, so these are probably going to get lost if anything's missing out of the box. These are custom dice. So let's see, we got an eyeball on one side of the greens and we got this clover thing on the other. So we'll start with the eyeballs and rotate them. Then we've got swords, rotate them again, we've got a blank side. And then we have this like 3, I don't know what these are, 3 circle thingies. And then we rotate them back and they're the eyes again. We rotate to the right and we've got a clover. Rotate it again, we've got the blank spot, of course. Then once more we got a star. And then we're back at the eyeball. Alright, that's the green die. Here we've got our clovers. Then we've got a blank side. Then we've got the star. Then we've got our eyeballs. Then we got our clovers. And we're back at the blank spot. Then rotate to the right, we got those 3 things. Then the eye. Then it's supposed to be the sword. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing today. Then the blank spot. So yeah, the dice are actually identical in their layout. I did about out of order. But they do seem to match. If I put them all the same way. You got your eyeball. Sorry about the jumping camera. It's an autofocus issue, and I haven't figured out how to work around it. Until I get my primary camera fixed, we're going to have to deal with this. And the sword is in the same spot. So you took these like this. They're identical in layout. So they're not actually totally custom. You could probably do it by sharing dice if you're missing some. But I kind of doubt I'm sure the mechanics are there to screw that up. So let's look at our sword here. We've got an eyeball, the clover, then the three things, then a sword, and then we're back to the eyeball. Go to the right, we've got a sword, the three things, sword, eyeball. This is the only one that's different. The others are just colors. This is really the different thing. So, yeah, I don't know. They're okay, but the image on here is not engraved in it. It's just kind of painted on. So that will probably disappear at some point if you're playing more than even, I would say, light use. Moderate to heavy use, it's going to either wear off or peel off, and you're going to have to replace it. And if you don't have more than one copy of the game, that's probably going to be fairly difficult. So let's get the dice out of the way and look at our cards. Alright, so there's no peel tab, is there? Nope, just to make it difficult. Alright, so it's pretty cheap plastic it's wrapped in, so that actually opens fairly easily. Alright, we got a couple different kinds of cards here. We've got a power deck, a fortune deck, and then we've got our character cards. So we'll start with our character cards. Backs are pretty straightforward. The art's pretty decent. She's drawn well. He looks kind of silly. He's got like a Wolverine claw thing going. I don't know what that's all about. But then we've got, on the other side, it's Pinocchio. After rolling dice, you may add one sword, one eyeball, one clover, whatever that thing is, and attack again. And the cards are numbered. It says deck 1, card 1, and Pinocchio is deck 1, card 2. So you can separate it into their home decks if you get the other ones, because they're supposed to be interchangeable. So let's take a look at the fortune deck, because that appears to be what's next in the numbering sequence. So let's see, how many cards are there? There's 55. The character cards count as cards, so I guess that's something. So we've got the Woodsman as a companion. Then we've got a Cricket companion. Then there's a Fairy. It's a Strength Fairy. And we've got a Picnic Basket Relic. A Marionette Strings Relic. Grandma's Glasses. A Cooking Pot. Geppetto's Boat. Woodsman's Axe. A Whale's Tooth. 5 gold pieces. Map to Grandmother's House. A Healing Potion. Donkey Boy. A Cuckoo Clock. An Enchanted Tree. Blue Fairy's Wand. 3 golden pears. And a spell book. Then we have event cards. We have relic alignment. All players simultaneously pass their top relic to the player on their left. Then a power surge. Fairy's Pure Wisdom Challenge. Fairy Strength Contest. Lucky Fairy Contest. Magic Fairy Contest. And that's all the fortune deck. And that takes us through card 27. So we're a little over Well, we're about half done. Alright, now let's look at the power deck. First up, we've got a Recall of Power. That's an influence. Then we have another one. An Inner Strength. Another Inner Strength. Another Inner Strength. Another Inner Strength. Then we have Power Leech. You may draw one card at random from any player's hand. A Power Grab. Supremacy Shift. A second Supremacy Shift. A Refresh Power. Then we've got a Creature, which is an Imp. A Phoenix. Another Phoenix. An Ogre. A second Ogre. A third Ogre. Fourth Ogre. These stick together pretty easily. There's only one Imp. That's weird. Then we've got a Treant. Sprite. Second Sprite. Third Sprite. Fourth Sprite. Then we've got a Leprechaun. There's only one of him. And there's an Elf. Another Elf. Third Elf. And lastly, an Owl. Alright, so the game looks very easy. It looks like it's just symbol based. Doesn't seem to be a lot beyond that. There is some little images of dice up here in the corner. Varies. This one's got 2. There's 1 here. So yeah, looks like a very simplistic game. Not overly complicated. Probably an interesting deck builder type game if you're playing with multiple players. But, yeah, it looks like it might be a little too simplistic for hardcore gamers. It might be more along the lines of something that you would get normies to play with you if you're trying to introduce them to the hobby, as opposed to, like, trying to drive them into something like Sentinels of the Multiverse right away. This looks like it's a nice introductory game into card playing and board games in general. So yeah, it looks a little too easy for your average gamer, but it might have some kind of hidden interest level there, especially if you're into like the whole dark fairy tales sort of thing. I'm gonna have to give it like a mid-range rating because the cards are a little cheap. The thickness is fine. The coding is a little garbagey, so they stick together a little bit. In case you didn't notice, I was having a little trouble with that. And I have a bad feeling that over time, if they're not stored properly, they're going to stick together and form one giant brick. So that's a little concerning. Overall, it looks like a nice, simple, kind of laid-back game you could play with just about anybody. So I think it's better as an introductory game to deck builder games like Sentinels of the Multiverse. You're not going to get any Magic players playing this anytime soon. But it probably worked fine for normies and younger players to kind of work their way up to Clank or something like that. So yeah, if you've got some people that you're looking to recruit into your game group, or you're bored and have some normies around, this might be okay to play. So yeah, that's Scary Tales Little Red versus Pinocchio. Seems okay. Overall, decent quality. I don't think I'd pay more than 10 or 12 bucks for it. I think it's going for between 10 and 25 depending on sales going on. But yeah, if you can find it for 15 bucks, I'd say it's probably okay for your average normal person and non-hardcore gamer to play. So if you're a board game collector and you've got a bunch of games like put out by Hasbro and stuff like that, this would be an okay one to add. Fairly non-threatening. There is some kind of dark imagery type thing going on, but kids like that sort of thing now. So that'll do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel, and we hope to see you on the next episode of What's Inside.